I think it's great that Robyn and Kody are on this call. They are a couple. I don't have a problem with seeing them as a couple, that participating in family stuff as a couple. It's just what it is.
I'm just as excited as I would be if they were a pair of girls. So this whole video chat was very bittersweet, mostly sweet. But I started out being almost in a state of paranoia with anxiety over the contempt that has been thrown my direction.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, November 10th, 2023. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, today there's a new clip from Sister Wives, and Kody has said now in this new clip that he was apprehensive to be on a joint Zoom call for a gender reveal for his daughter Mykelti because of all of the contempt that was being thrown his way. So Kody is still upset that he is being quote unquote contempt, which would mean he's being disrespected. He feels like people are sending him disrespect, not being obedient. They're angry at him.
I'm going to be the head of my household again, and so I'm not going to be circumvented in that. And so if everybody's willing to conform to patriarchy again, I guess, because I've been fighting to make everybody happy. My bitterness is out of trying to do that and not having the family that I had thought about and designed.
So he still is mad that the family is not happy with him. Instead of actually thinking about, maybe their points of view and how they're feeling and why they might be feeling the way that they're feeling, Kody is having a pity party. Although the entire gender reveal goes off without a hitch, and we already know that Mykelti is having twins and she had 2 boys. So I was actually thinking about how this season, Kody and Robyn are doing a ton of rewriting of history. Earlier in the season, Robyn said she felt tricked.
And I feel angry. I'm really angry. I wanted to live through a marriage, and I feel like I'm starting to feel a little tricked or something, or like people are making decisions for my life that I did not choose.
About what she was walking into when she joined the family. And I, who has the book Becoming Sister Wives, was looking into the book, and I noticed in the book, Kody even speaks in the epilogue of the book about how he actually paused his relationship with Robyn or prolonged their engagement because things were so messy in his family. So Robyn has claimed that she only saw the good, the bad, the good of the family. She felt like, the wool had been pulled over her eyes. But in Becoming Sister Wives, in the epilogue, this is what he said about the problems in the marriages before he brought Robyn into the marriages. In the past years, when Mary, Janelle, Christine, and I used to have family meetings about money concerns, kids' problems at school, or any of the other things married couples deal with, it was hard not to become defensive, and I would also feel antagonistic. I tried to understand all the charged emotions coming at me from 3 different directions. My patience would grow short, and we would not communicate as well as an enlightened family. This was all in the most recent years, and we were even worse back when we were all new at it and the oldest children were toddlers. So he's saying that even before Robyn came in, they were having antagonistic arguments. He was being very antagonistic. He was being very impatient. Communications were difficult, and he was charged with emotions, okay? And then he says, Robyn and I had been courting for about 2 months when we got engaged. She had been received by Mary, Janelle, and Christine with open hearts and open arms. Within a month of our engagement, however, everybody started to struggle with the emotional adjustments of the courtship. They were engaged, so I don't know about with the emotional of the engagement maybe. Robyn quickly realized that we had been avoiding many of our problems. In my pride, I had rejected the idea of any form of marriage counseling. We did not know how to validate each other in our feelings. We were hiding our problems in our career pursuits and other outward efforts. In our marriages and the sister-wife relationships, we had started to settle for less than our best. We became complacent with mediocre lives, relationships, marriages. There was nothing wrong with that if we didn't mind living in a mundane life. However, plural marriage is only lived well when those involved seek to strengthen and better their relationships. Some of us had become aggressive. Some of us had buried our feelings, and we weren't emotionally healthy enough to have another wife come into the family. I put off the wedding until the following spring because we didn't have the financial means to support Robyn and her family. But we actually needed that time to heal our relationships so that Robyn could enter a family that was ready for another wife. So apparently, everything is a hot mess in their family, and Robyn helps them realize that they weren't communicating well. And he had rejected counseling all of those years, and then suddenly he goes into counseling. So again, Robyn being tricked or not understanding or not getting it, totally false. Totally false. Another thing or another lie that Kody and Robyn have been trying to go through this season is that they were surprised that Christine was unhappy. They acted like they couldn't believe that Christine had been unhappy since Las Vegas, even though in as early as season 2 or 3, when they were in Las Vegas, Christine had already been expressing her unhappiness on the show with conversations and on the couch talking about feeling disconnected from Kody, feeling unhappy, sometimes feeling like she didn't know if she wanted to stay. Mary even said on season 1 that there were times when she felt like leaving.
Right now, we're not really even working on it, and that's hard. That's really hard. So when Robyn came into the family, I was shocked at how many times she disagreed with you. I always just gave in. You wanted to do something, I just gave in. I was like, whatever you needed, I just did, and I didn't argue, didn't even... They got engaged and everything, and I thought, oh, that's nice, they're engaged now, so now it's more official. Like a month later, I found out that Kody sealed the engagement with a kiss, and I freaked. We didn't kiss until over the altar, because I didn't feel right about kissing a married man. But what I get jealous about most is time, and where he spends his time. And that's what it comes down to most with me. And I think about time a lot, probably. I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where my kids' needs aren't met.
Again, so Robyn's been there since day 1. All of this has been going on, and they've all been discussing their unhappiness. So to act as though now that they're not having problems or they were fine in Vegas is hysterical. And he even said, what I also find hysterical is this idea that they were so shocked that Christine would leave. But in 2012, in the book Becoming Sister Wives, Kody admitted that he at times wanted to leave his family. He said, now I'm working every day and in every way with all 4 of my wives. This experience has caused us some significant new challenges. My wives are all very independent, free-thinking women. They each have a mind of their own. God forbid a woman think for themselves. Sorry, had to interject that. And frequently like to give me a piece of it. Getting consensus is somewhat like pulling teeth. Some days when we first moved to the 4 homes, I wanted to just walk away. So he wanted to just walk away when they moved into the new homes. There were many days when I just thought we wouldn't be able to pull it off. I just kept telling myself that it was necessary. If I want to be with them for all of this life and beyond, I'm sure better be able to work with them in a business. So he admits that he had at one point in time, while in Vegas, as far back as 2012, he wanted to leave the family. Now, I know there's lots of times when we're feeling overwhelmed with anxiety and stress, the natural reaction for some people is just to want to run, right? I'm not a psychologist by any means, but there is that whole like fight or flight mentality. So I can recognize he's probably feeling overwhelmed and he wants to run away. Now, he admits that he keeps going, but so he was unhappy as far back as 2012, and he was unhappy with the other wives before Robyn came. So again, Kody and Robyn playing ignorant for the camera and pretending like they don't understand is just acting. Another thing that I think is interesting is that over the years, when the show first started, Kody was very much against this whole idea that their belief system or that their church was patriarchal. In fact, he always would go with the wives, like when they did their therapies back in the earlier seasons, they would always say that the wives each had a choice. Everything was done on committee, right? And now this year he is acting and wanting loyalty, right? He wants loyalty from his kids. He wants them to obey his rules. He wants loyalty from his wives, okay? Well, in 2018, this completely contradicts. So what he's saying now, right, is that he wants loyalty. Back then, he said everyone had a voice and a choice. That's how they pushed this out to the present. This is how you know that Kody has not changed. He was just lying. Because even in court, he filed a motion in Utah. This was to be an expert witness in a DV case for his best friend, Kyle Henderson, who had assaulted his wife brutally, and he was facing numerous felonies. The state was going to bring Kristen Decker onto the stand as an expert witness to speak about the challenges women face in the AUB as a former member of the AUB. Well, when they found out, Kyle, that Miss Decker was going to testify for an expert on behalf of the victim, Nicole, Kody inserted himself into this hearing, and he never had to testify, but this is what the attorneys wrote about Kody. Mr. Brown is the patriarch of the reality show Sister Wives and is self-employed as an advertising salesman who previously lived in Lehi, Utah, but has since moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. Kody is part of a polygamous family. He has 4 wives and 18 children. The state's expert witness, Kristen Deckard, has been featured on the Sister Wives show. Mr. Brown knows Miss Decker very well, and his wife Christine is the niece of Miss Decker. Mr. Brown is the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Becoming Sister Wives, and has been interviewed numerous times about polygamy. Kody now claims he's not an expert on polygamy. Isn't that weird? He was in an interview a couple weeks ago and says he wasn't an expert. 2018, he was an expert. So this is what he says that he was going to testify to. Mr. Brown is not only knowledgeable about the doctrines, practices, and internal workings and social structures of the LDS Church, but also the AUB and under other fundamentalist polygamous sects and independents as well. The defendant anticipates that Mr. Brown's testimony will likely include an explanation of the religious and social structures and beliefs of the AUB compared with the LDS Church, how it is not difficult for husbands, wives, or children in plural families to leave the AUB, and the fact that DV does not occur more frequently than in non-polygamous families in general, even in traditional mainstream LDS families. The truth regarding the so-called patriarchal nature of the AUB, the lines of authority taught within the AUB, and that women are not subservient. And there are not mandates of loyalty and obedience to be a member of the AUB or requirements that adherents and members cover for DV and control of women within the AUB. So he was going to testify that women are not subservient, where he's now demanding that his wives obey, right? He's also claiming that there was never requirements for loyalty or obedience. Now he's mad at all of his kids for being disobedient and not obeying him. It sure sounds to me like Kristen's testimony that the AUB and the lines of authority taught that women must be loyal and obedient to their husbands and that women must be subservient. He has said that he likes Robyn because she's an obedient, submissive wife.
I have somebody in my life who is fundamentally loyal to me, who sees me as the head of the family. I'm saying to you that you and I get that if you're loyal to me. I'm not telling Janelle to be more like Robyn. I'm telling Janelle just to be loyal. I have 100% loyalty from Robyn.
So in 2018, he was going to say women aren't submissive. In 2023, he's saying, I want you to be submissive and be like Robyn. He also was going to testify that he will rebut the state experts, Miss Decker's expected testimony that explains the religious, social, and personal pressures defendant allegedly used to coerce and control the alleged victim during the alleged cycle of DV. This expert will also be used as a rebuttal expert against Ms. Decker and regarding any claim by the state of bias. So he was going to testify in the defense of his best friend Kyle, who had brutally attacked his wife. Kyle, whose name is Mitchell Kyle Henderson, never went to trial and he took a plea deal. The plea deal avoided that he would go to jail. He was able to basically plead no contest. It's not an act of an omission or guilt, and it's not a plea of innocence. But in the court of law, it's still considered guilt. So he ends up not having to go to trial. But Kody and Kyle actually was on the show in 2019, and the way that they described that Nicole just gave up, which, by the way, can we apologize to Nicole for how she was discussed on the show, that she just gave up, she just walked away, she didn't work things out when she had been battered by Kyle. Anyways, Kody was in 2018 still riding this falsehood that this culture was not based on loyalty and patriarchy. Today, he's demanding loyalty, obedience, and respect. So the Kody of today is the Kody he has always been. He just lied on the show. He lied in court records. He lied in sworn affidavits. He lied on television. He lied in interviews. He lied. And the women lied to protect him because, as Kristen said yesterday in that 2011 blog that I shared, there's this belief that these girls are taught since birth and conception when they grow up in this culture that if you don't practice polygamy, ye be damned. You're going to go to hell. So everyone protects polygamy because they believe their eternal salvation and lifeline is on the line. When you are holding someone's eternity hostage through coercive means of promises of eternity, as long as you do this, there's no such thing as consent. So even Kody's continued claims that people can leave easily, which he said was easy in this 2018 declaration or this 2018 document filed in court. When Christine left, he did not make it easier for her to leave, right? He he threatened her to take her to court. He threatened to, bury her in lawyer's fees, potentially bankrupt her through lawyer's fees. By the way, they never went to court. He fought with her about the equity of the home. He had a huge hissy fit and did the knife in the kidney scenes. He intimidated her. He tried to get the kids to intimidate her. He's trying to use Mykelti as a weapon in the middle of all of this. And so even with Janelle trying to leave, he is proving it is not easy for a woman to leave because he is still trying to convince her and coerce her to stay. If it was as easy as, I'm going to let you leave, you would say, thank you, goodbye. But Kody doesn't do that. He tries to abuse the wives in every which way. And now that they've left, he's running smear campaigns on them and then falsely claiming that the people that are speaking the truth are throwing contempt at him. So even in these moments of happiness for the show, Kody is making this that you are disrespecting me. You are not obeying me. This is not how this patriarchy is supposed to be. Kody Brown makes a happy moment for Mykelti about his narcissistic injury and admits he's delusional or paranoid. I mean, at least we know that he's paranoid. I mean, at least he finally admits he's paranoid, right? But it's just that small little soundbite had me thinking about this entire history in the books, in the court records, on the interviews. It's everywhere you look. The lies, the deception, and all of these women covering for Kody. I want to end with this. As someone in my comments yesterday actually made a comment, and I don't have it pinned or anything, but they said that what frustrates them now is that when you look at the totality of polygamy and the power and the control that the men have over these women, the continued efforts of the women filming on a show with Kody keeps them in still, even though they're being paid, a role where Kody is still allowed to have control over their lives and access to their lives, where they're not making a clean break from an abuser that a woman that is fleeing a situation would need. And that until the women free themselves from being on a show with him and free themselves economically from him, there's a level of interdependence at this point. And I don't disagree with that. I do know that contracts are a part of the problem here. And so it's not as easy as them saying, I'm done. They have to honor their contracts. So we'll see how long they continue. If they keep going year after year after year, maybe then we can have these conversations. For right now, I think they have contracts for the show. But Kody is still pissy about being disrespected, even on a day that is happy for the only daughter that likes him. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.